Hi, and welcome to Glass House Church to Go. We are in Venice, actually a little island off of Venice called Venice de Lido, or Lido de Venice. I got it in the wrong order, but anyway, that is in Italy. And Len and I are here for a very special reason, which is we were here for some very special people. Some friends of ours got married, and this is the place that they chose to do it. And so what I'm going to do is basically bring the middle of the message that I did for that wedding, because it was based on 1 Corinthians 13. And so I want to just share that message with you here from this place while it's fresh in our hearts and our minds. So 1 Corinthians 13 is known in many places as the love chapter. And the reason is that in that place, Paul gives a definition of love, and maybe you're familiar with it. It says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not self-seeking, it does not boast, it does not envy, it is not easily angered, it doesn't keep a record of wrongs. It says, love bears all things, hopes all things, believes all things, and love never fails. And it goes on to talk about the fact that there are three big concepts, three big themes, three big thoughts, three big ideas that God has in Scripture. And they can be summed up as faith, hope, and love. And I love the fact that it says there in the chapter 13 that the greatest of these is love. Now, any of you who've listened to any of my messages know that I like to sometimes say something that might shock or surprise at first and then explain it further, so you get people listening. And I really learned that from Jesus, who loved to do it, who said things like, blessed are the poor, that would make people go, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Or, he would say a good Samaritan, and people say, are there good Samaritans, and things like that. So he loved to say things that made people perk up their ears, perk up their hearts, and listen. So what I did in that wedding, I actually took out of my jacket pocket a poker chip, a gambling chip. And what I encouraged people to do, I said, I'm going to encourage everyone here to gamble in their life. And, of course, there's that look of confusion for a moment while people are saying, what kind of pastor is encouraging people to gamble? But I went on to say that everyone bets their life on something. They might bet their life on their career or their accomplishments, their athletic ability, their artistic ability, their musical gifts, their financial, prowess, or whatever else. There's something that everyone is betting their life on, and they're gambling on it and saying, well, I think that will bring me the best life, the best satisfaction, the most investment for my input. And so I held up that chip and I said, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do, which is, if you're going to gamble, gamble on the GOAT. Gamble on the GOAT. Gamble on the GOAT. And in sports vernacular, or really popular culture, the idea of GOAT, it's an acronym. It's GOAT, the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. So if you were going to place a sport bet, it would make all the sense in the world to bet on the GOAT, to gamble on the GOAT, to go for the greatest of all time, because that's the most chance of winning. That's the winning ticket. That's the winning team, is the GOAT. And so there were people there who were very familiar with that. There were some who might even be considered that, the GOAT. And so you see it on people's Instagrams, you see it on their social media. You're the GOAT. And if you don't know what they're talking about, you think, are they insulting them? No, the greatest of all time. Now, what's the greatest of all time? Well, the Apostle Paul, who was one of the greats, just told us that there's three contenders. There's faith, there's hope, and there's love. And faith is a big one, right? It's a heavy hitter. It's certainly in the Hall of Fame, right? You see faith as something that's, exalted many times in people's lives. They're like, oh, I have great faith. But he says, that's not the greatest of all time. Then you have hope, and hope is important. I mean, you can live without food for a little while, water for a little while, sleep without a little while, but you can't live without hope for very long at all. But he says, that's great, but it's not the greatest of all time. You want to know what the GOAT is? Gamble on the GOAT. The GOAT is love. The greatest of these is love. The greatest of all is love. And I love to actually, kind of give one to the married couple anytime they're giving their vows, and substitute their name in and say, like, Scott is patient, Scott is kind, Lynn does not keep a record of wrongs. And you go, well, if it's okay, not so good, who knows? But if you put Jesus into that blank for love, because Jesus is love, Jesus is patient. Yes, he is. He's the greatest of all time. So the greatest of all time is love as a theme, as a thought, and the greatest embodiment of that is Jesus, the GOAT. So you want to know who the GOAT is? It's love, it's Jesus. And if you're going to gamble, if you're going to bet your life, go all out, be all in for Jesus. And it will lead you to a life of love, and you'll find that that is something not to hedge your bet on, not to put one little chip on it. Some people go through life with a chip on their shoulder, or they say, oh, the chips are down for me. What I'm encouraging everyone to do is put it all on love. Be all in. And if you think about it, be all in, ball it. It's just, again, a phrase for just winning, doing everything all the way. And so when you think about it, I am encouraging you here to gamble wherever you are. And if you're in doubt on something, say, what should I do? I'll tell you what to do. Go all in. Go all in on the GOAT. Go all in. Gamble on the GOAT. When in doubt, bet on love. If you don't know what to do, bet on love. And again, faith, hope. Why is it that they're good but not great? Well, the reason they're not the greatest of all time is they're not for all time. They're for this time. See, you have hope for now. You have faith for now. But those things are only as good as their object. People can put their faith in the wrong thing. You can put your hope in the wrong thing. But Jesus loved even the unlovable. Faith can only go so far, and we leave it at the gate of heaven. But love will be eternal. It's the one thing we take with us. We won't need faith in heaven. We will see with our eye. We won't need hope in heaven. We will have it realized. But we will experience and know love. And that is why love is the greatest of all time. If you want to go for the GOAT, do that. I close out by thinking that this is our 29th year of marriage, Lynn and I. And we are celebrating that in a very unique way this year. God has just uniquely given us so many opportunities this year, as every year, but some very great ones this year. But when we were in school, we got married between the 2 years of grad school. And there were people there who said it was precipitous. Now, we had to go look that up, but it means ill-considered. It's a bad bet, basically. But there were people betting we would not make it. There was an over-under. Or even our friends, so-called, were all saying, well, I'll give them 2 years max. Or they won't even make it to graduation. But what I love about that is because of Jesus and because of not hedging our bet, but going all in, going all out and being all in, to the relationship with each other and with God. Guess what? We got to experience and are getting to experience the greatest of all things, which is love. And so we won. We won the bet because we were on the winning team. So I told people I have a championship ring on my own, and it's this one here. Maybe people accomplish all kinds of things in life, but to me this is a very special accomplishment, and that Lynn wears it too, and that Team Clonch winning the championship, because we know we have on our team the greatest of all time, Jesus. God bless you guys. We'll see you back at home.